Hey folks, welcome back to How I Did That. Today we're going to be talking about Gaussian Soul. I think the first thing to note, because it's the first thing I did, actually no it's not, it's a lie. Let's talk about the first thing I did. The character. The original idea for this animation, the character was orange, but the last animation I did had an orange character. So I decided that even though these animations are not related, that I would do a different color, just to try and spice it up. The clothes, I did it the usual way I make clothes, which is I make a separate object, usually a cube, and model it out, and then subdivide it, and it turns out alright. The jacket, however, did not turn out alright because I solidified it. I put a solidified modifier on it, which made the inside of the jacket sleeves bend differently from the rest of the jacket. So it was kind of like, I don't know, like in sci-fi movies where the character has a bunch of tubes connecting the parts of the body. It was kind of like that from the shoulder to the wrist. It was weird, and so I had to go into the mesh and try and erase all of the inside of the jacket. Also, while I was doing this on ones, it had been a while since I had done 3D animation, and I forgot how difficult it was, and I especially had difficulty trying to convey the weight of having the soul attached. There was a part where he was sort of supposed to get influenced by having the weight as you turn the corner, but it just sort of looks jerky, and yeah. Doing the walk cycle for the beginning part, I think I'm getting better at doing straight on walk cycles, but then the part where they started to turn the corner, it broke down a little bit. The shaking of the head was originally really fast, and then I tried to slow it down, but I think I made it too slow, and then I just committed, and then I rendered it all out, and if it might be a little slow, it might be a bit strange. I think it better actually suits the weight of the soul. I don't know how much weight a soul is supposed to weigh though. The soul character is made using a preset. The clay shader that I use recently had an update where they included a few presets. One of them looked kind of see-through. I forget what it was called exactly. The soul was made using the base character, and then I did a remesh so that it looked a bit more jagged and unearthly. The soul, the waist, and the feet were animated using a noise modifier for the keyframes. I wanted it to sort of be like weirdly smooth and ethereal compared to the sort of jerky frame by frame motion of the main character. So I think that juxtaposition really worked well for conveying the soul. The way that I modified the soul's opacity was using that second parse, or the original parse. I just overlaid the one without the soul on top, and then just in Premiere put in a few keyframes to modify the amount of opacity it has. Now, back to what I was originally going to talk about. The room, right? It's like, oh, this is a different room than I'm used to seeing in a NahManacles animation. What's going on? Well, unfortunately, this was not a child of mine. This is the living room from the movie Lost Highway. I saw animator KevinTemmer posted a video where he showed his influences, and I thought, that's cool. I should incorporate some media that I've seen. So I just ripped the layout of the living room. Admittedly, not a good way to take inspiration, or quote unquote use inspiration, by just ripping and tearing certain aspects out and just repurposing them. But I think that I'm not really sure. I was gonna say I think that the plot of Lost Highway fits with the plot of this animation, but to be honest, I still don't really know if I got Lost Highway. It's an irrelevant point. No music. Sorry, I didn't mean to pause for so long. This animation didn't have any music. Instead, what it had was a sort of drone, and you might be wondering what that drone was. Well, that is the sound of space by NASA. Just sort of something that I thought was really cool, so I just used it. The sound effects, done in FL Studio. It was all done in FL Studio, the sound, because I wanted to get back into doing that. The sound effects were recorded by yours truly, no more plagiarizing video game sound effects. I wanted to do Foley, and I was originally not going to do this because there was a storm and I had a headache and there were dogs barking in the neighborhood, but I thought, why not do it anyway? And then I did. So the sound effects that I recorded were footsteps, the sort of movement of clothes for the shaking of the head, and then I also recorded sound of the soul reattaching to the mind. The visuals were rendered 3 times, which is why the visuals are sort of patchy, was because I rendered it at a sample count of 2. For reference, my sample count is usually like 128, 256, but I rendered it at 2 because 1, I sort of like I put on denoise for the viewport, and I like the way that it looked. It sort of looks painted. It looks nice, but I think I realized that it looks nice as a still. In motion, it's really, really noticeable. But to be able to get the pass that I wanted, I had to do it 3 times because I did it the day before the upload. So the first pass was the character with the soul attached. The second pass was the character on his own. And then the third pass was for the last shot. The character didn't have their face applied, so the last shot was just the face plate. Because the face sort of deformed with the way the head was moving around, and I just wanted it to have a clean shot. And because I had to blur it. I can't believe I forgot that. I think that's pretty much it for Gaussian Soul. Bye-bye.